will download it. So. No, you won't. She's good with that. Yeah. She actually is. He's very focused.
Alex, did you get any video?
Not this morning, not yet.
I'm gonna get a video.
Yeah. Me too. But yeah, always do that.
Still's first. But that's the video is good. Then I could hopefully I just say
Period.
the card's quiet. Although I have one of these now too. I was like, I have a little GoPro. I don't know. I'm just learning.
My guess is they have
It's way worse than set that.
Yeah.
That camera has a bigger sensor than those cameras.
Yeah, I just got it. It's like, what's this one? It's a 12, mine's an 11. Mine's an 11.
most people do without any introduction. Every picture to us is like a little bit, you know. Yeah, it's like simply determined. And that's what like is that I can be bigger like me. No matter what.
No
They're gonna look like me.
That's good.
That's it.
So that was like a long time. I think everybody else saw it first.
I'm real not first.
It's so good.
Well, because the sensor's this big. You know, the sensor's like tiny. It's yeah. I tried to have everyone was like, "You're on my phone." Like, not just you're talking to I'm not. No, you're way ahead of me. You're way ahead of me. I'm just now got the mic to try to go close. It takes a long time for people to come around.
Yes.
I know. I mean, a lot of states they don't.
Extravagant.
I understand because
I've never experienced.
if you're shooting video also, you're still generally whole concentrating.
That's so cute.
People say you can
Oh my god, I'm
at the
stealing.
same
I
time.
am stealing.
You should have a jacket.
I would love to.
Because the first
We can all get dinner or something.
Yeah. So the first thing we are going to try.
You know how much the charcoal is?
A lot.
Over.
That's crazy.
When I raised that contract, I was so happy. So happy.
Oh, did you just get that one?
And last
Last
year,
year?
yeah, a year ago.
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't realized that
I
yet.
used
I'm
that
sure
for
it's
inauguration.
for me,
Yeah.
but
Well, our inventory is better than
I'm really excitable about it.
I just really think about that stuff. I need all my
Syrian.
Oh, so you're using the money to buy?
Which feels very.
Yes.
And,
Still getting more. There's still people without.
I was lucky. Yeah. That's coming with property.
No. None of the people at my job before have ever said no, I haven't.
What did you decide that to?
They have
How much are we?
I produced it.
I'm terrible. I don't even know you. Yeah. Constantly.
That's not okay. Then you don't. What about something?
I'll ask them. Yeah.
You need this one.
Oh, I have it.
Oh, come on. That's only like, I mean, like pasta. That's not even. Come on. You're looking all these like skins.
She's like, that was the top.
All right, Jay, you ready?
Let's go. Are they going to grab your arm again? Also, like, my group organizes everything like that. Walks your tire shop. Let's see that. Ken didn't want to. Ken said that they got him for just trying to tell him what.
I told those people, I said, you don't have authority over me. I'm here. You're here doing your thing. I'm here doing my thing. If you fight so hard not to get covered, guess what? One day there's not going to be covered. And then what are you going to do when you show up here? There's someone there. There's ice waiting outside. He comes out. And there's no one here to see it. Well, it was cool because one of the coaches told that rally guy, I was looking at the guy, I'm just out here. I'm going ahead. I know what I can do. I said, go ahead. And, no. And then the other guy goes, looks at the organizer. I'm just like, what are his First Amendment rights not as good as your First Amendment rights? Like he was sticking up for people. It's just like, I just wanted to say no. Man, it's terrible. Leave me alone. Insane. I used to too, and all of a sudden I'm the manager. I'm sending.
You get out of everybody's
Sending out emails and no one responds.
Dude, I did my review the other a few weeks back.
Yeah.
My manager says, I hope you understand. He said, is this my review or yours?
Well, I found that certain people do their best work. You just let them do it.
Yes.
You know, there is certain people that need guidance, 100%. But other people, when you give them the guidance, they feel constrained, and you can tell that it's not. They think they're doing something that they're trying to read your mind, what they think you want, right? And instead, you just let them go. And I've had to reel it in a couple times because someone said, this is what I'm doing today, and I just wanted to go, but I didn't. And they came back with a great set of pictures.
You need a site. Masters for coaching football team.
Yeah. No, that's what they told me when the CEO told me she wanted me to do this job. I didn't understand. Right? It's like, but you give your opinion for 22 years, and guess what?
It's time to execute.
Yeah. So she said the HR, the people parts, and 100%. Like I've been in this since August. I'm just cleaning up messes that have been festering for years. People, not everyone made it through, but people come and go, and that's how it goes. You know? If you decide you don't want to be there, that's fine.
Just wrap.
Here we go. God, you're so dialed in, man. All right, Al.
Show me the road.
Mm-hmm. Right. What? 我本來咧諗住咧係想將離線跟住手，但係咧啱咧我收到通知咧就係呢個我飛正係好啊，係咁過嚟，應該就講，佢出嚟執到。You okay, right? You got,
So, yeah. Thanks so much.
You guys need automatically?
No. Now that he's way further from the mics, can you just walk up to the mics? You don't need the podium. That's why we set that up.
Thanks. You set those up.
Yeah, I smell their bullshit too, bro.
You guys need sound check or you guys are good? We're good. Are you good, Dean?
No quick sound.
Check, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Good. Kilmar.
Yeah.
Hey, what newspaper you gonna read?
Run to you before I went in.
The still photographer here.
sounds like January 14th, I think, is when their deadline for all of
TC, my initial.
Eddie?
Yes.
Right. How's
Yes.
I usually do.
Okay, all right. I saw so many people. There'll be no one behind me. And then
We'll go right through the air. Like you tell
just in the overflow.
Bless you.
You have to hear it. And yes.
Stop it.
I'm literally fine. I'm doing my best.
I took my
Yeah, I was like, I mean, it seems valuable, but I'm not sure it is. I mean, I was thinking like, maybe I should just confirm.
You're far enough south, you gotta just say. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Alex, I think his car pulled up. I think there seems to be more movement.
That wasn't for you.
A lot more movement. I think he's coming.
Hey, Evan.
coming up.
Ma'am, you clear the shot, ma'am. Clear the shot, please. Ma'am, thank you.
amigo, el pueblo está contigo.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. My name is Simon Sandoval Moschenberg. I'm a partner with Murray Osorio PLLC, and together with Quinn Emanuel, we represent Kilmar Abrego Garcia in this matter. Yet again, for the 7th or 8th time, the government employed the tactic of sending an attorney into court who feigned ignorance as to what the government's plan is for Mr. Abrego Garcia. Sort of said, I don't know if they're actually planning on rearresting him. I don't know what the basis would be. They might do this, they might do this, they might do this. And so the district judge obviously found that, as before, a little implausible that in a case of this nature that, we've now learned has been considered a priority for the highest levels of the Justice Department, that they really haven't even decided what they're going to do here. So the government gave the district judge gave the government until the 26th of December, that is to say Friday, to actually answer the question. What is your plan for Mr. Abrego Garcia? Are you planning to rearrest him? If so, why? We'll then have the opportunity to respond to that, and then based on that, the judge will decide whether to convert her temporary order prohibiting his rearrest into a permanent order or whether to dissolve it. So as of right now, Mr. Abrego Garcia is going to return to his home with his wife, his children, his family members in Maryland. And he will be at home through Christmas and New Year. Yeah! But we're very much not out of the woods yet, right? I mean, the government, to me at least, it's clear that the government is willing to do whatever it takes, sort of give any legal justification, any factual justification whatsoever to put this man back into a detention center. And we all see that there's no reason for that. We see that there's no basis. Yet again, who's keeping Mr. Abrego Garcia in the United States right now is the federal government. Right? Mr. Abrego Garcia, if he was allowed to sort of choose his path, he would have been in Costa Rica months ago, right? And so it's actually the federal government that's keeping him here in the United States right now in order to keep him behind bars of an ICE detention center, and now put him back behind bars of an ICE detention center. Again, they're insisting on punishing him and using ICE detention, which is supposed to be just for the purpose of carrying out a removal, using ICE detention to accomplish what they weren't able to accomplish in the criminal matter in Tennessee, which is, to keep him locked up. But we're not gonna allow that. We're gonna keep fighting for a resolution of this matter that keeps Mr. Abrego Garcia free. Right? His priority right now is to remain free. Again, as I said last time, we don't consider justice that he be in Costa Rica. Justice would be that he remain here in Maryland, free from the constant threat, free from the persecution of this government, free from the threat that they're going to try to remove him to, whatever 4th or 5th or 6th African country they can name, free from the threat that they're going to send him back to a detention center in Pennsylvania. That would be justice. But an acceptable resolution at this point is the resolution that he's fighting for, which is the ability to take the Costa Rican government up on their offer of refugee status. That offer has been sitting out there since August. When we were last in court, the government said, "Oh no, that's no good anymore." Costa Rica, there's things going on that you don't know with Costa Rica. Of course, that proved to be completely false, as the Costa Rican foreign minister came out just a few days later and said, no, our offer of refugee status still stands. And that's where we left it. And so that's what Mr. Abrego Garcia is trying to do right now, right? He is trying to carry out what the government claims to want in this case, which is his removal from the United States. And they're the ones who are preventing that happening.
Free Kilmar now! 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 Free Kilmar now!
Let me just repeat that briefly in Spanish, and then I'll take questions and answers in English and Spanish. El gobierno hoy hizo la misma táctica de mandar un abogado que supuestamente no sabe nada de qué es el plan, que si lo van a volver a arrestar, que si lo van a dejar en libertad, que si lo arresten, ¿por qué sería? Pero la jueza obviamente, como siempre, no se dejó engañar y la jueza ordenó que para el viernes de esta semana el gobierno explica detalladamente qué es lo que supuestamente quieren hacer con el señor Abrego García y por qué. ¿Quieren volver a arrestarlo? ¿Quieren dejarlo en libertad? ¿Y por qué? Y luego nosotros vamos a tener la oportunidad de contestar esto. Entonces, en fin de cuentas, el señor Abrego García va a permanecer en libertad mientras las Navidades y el fin de año, pero no está fuera de peligro. Todavía el gobierno está luchando para volver a detenerlo en un centro de detención de ICE y la jueza tiene que decidir si va a convertir su orden de no arresto en un que actualmente es una orden temporaria, si lo va a convertir en una orden permanente o al contrario, si lo va a anular y permitir que lo vuelvan a arrestar. Esto obviamente no hay manera de saber, pero probablemente va a llegar poco después del año nuevo.
Yes, sir. The judge, she had mentioned about the January 14th date. Just wanted, could you confirm that date for us, please?
Yeah, there's going to be a status report due as well on January 14th.
Okay, no, thank you. Want to make sure that.
It's not going to be hearing though.
Okay, okay.
Simon, the judge today zeroed in on two errors by the government, one involving the paperwork that Mr. Abrego Garcia was given on his release a couple weeks ago, and the other being an error in one of the government's legal briefs that was filed with the court. What's going to be the impact of those, and why do you think we keep seeing, these sorts of errors in a case that's clearly of such extreme interest to the Trump administration?
Yeah, it's sort of hard to credit the government's explanation that these errors are in fact errors, right? I mean, just like, how many times have they sort of said, oh, we'll just sort of let the chips fall where they may in this case. And now, of course, it turns out that Todd Blanche has been sort of pulling the puppet strings all along, right? On Thursday, 2 weeks ago, in the morning, Judge Sinis entered a ruling finding that there is no order of removal and ordering Mr. Abrego Garcia released. As he was sort of walking out of the detention center in Pennsylvania, he was handed a piece of paper called an order of supervision, which is what the government gives someone when they have a final deportation order, right? So the government released him on terms that it releases someone who does have a final deportation order, notwithstanding the judge's ruling that he does not have a final deportation order. And then later that night, an immigration judge, a brand new immigration judge, not the one from 2019, but their sort of handpicked hatchet man immigration judge, entered a brand new removal order. So, I mean, one could sort of speculate that the fix was in, right? Because at 4:45 p.m., they're giving him an order that doesn't make sense and would only come to make sense in light of the immigration judge's order issued later that night. So I think that's exactly what she zeroed in on. Why are you ordering him released as someone with an order of deportation if I already found that he doesn't have an order of deportation? And the government's only answer to that was, oh, it was a mistake. Sorry about that.
You mentioned in the court that he was literally in a double bind. Can you explain and elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, the government keeps saying, and they even filed in their papers saying, look, he's complaining about detention, but he has the end of detention. It's in his power, right? He can self-deport. But that's exactly what he's been trying to do for all this time, right? Is take Costa Rica up on its offer of refugee status, right? And so it was sort of bitterly ironic for the government. They say this in all their immigration cases, where an immigrant is challenging detention. They say, well, if you don't want to be detained, just deport yourself. But for them to say that in this case, where that's actually what he's trying to do, was quite bitterly ironic.
And you explained he has two bracelets. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, one from ICE and one from the U.S. Marshals.
Simon, given everything that this family has been through in the last 7 months, what, from your perspective, does it mean for him to be home for the holidays with his family?
Yeah, I mean, it has been a tremendous roller coaster of emotions from them, right? On Thursday morning, they get the order ordering his release on a same-day basis. That night, the immigration judge sort of gins up a new retroactive deportation order. He's given a piece of paper saying he's got to check in at the ICE office in Baltimore the following morning. He knows that he's going to be taken into arrest because, I mean, as the judge said, it's deja vu all over again. That's what they do in that office, is they arrest people. That's what they did to him last time he was in that office. Literally, as he's walking up the steps, he doesn't know to the building. He doesn't know whether he's going to come out or not. We get the order essentially as he's going into the building. He learns that he's going to be allowed to come back out again, but it's a temporary order. You know, it only lasts through today's hearing. Doesn't know what, you know, again, comes to this courthouse not knowing whether he's going to walk out the front or back door. You know, the judge extends the order, but now only extends the order for a limited period of time. So it's very, I mean, it's just been one earthquake after another for this family. And of course, I'm sure they're incredibly gratified that they're going to be together for Christmas and New Year's, but the sword is still very much hanging over all of them. Que ha sido realmente una montaña rusa de emociones para esta familia en la última semana y media. Lo van a dejar libre el mismo día, pero esta misma tarde, mientras él está saliendo del centro de detención, le dan una orden de que se presente en la oficina de ICE la mañana siguiente para que lo arresten. Amanece aquel mañana, sale de la casa no sabiendo si va a volver a la casa. Mientras está subiendo las gradas para entrar al edificio de ICE, recibe una orden de esta corte que no lo pueden volver a arrestar. Pero la orden solo dura 2 semanas hasta la cita de hoy. Nuevamente llega aquí hoy a este edificio no sabiendo si va a salir por la puerta de enfrente o si lo van a sacar de la puerta de atrás. La jueza decide extender su orden de no arresto, pero nuevamente de manera temporaria. No sabemos cuándo va a fallar, pero probablemente va a ser un par de semanas nomás. Entonces, seguramente la familia está muy agradecida, muy contentos de que pueden estar juntos durante esas Navidades y Año Nuevo, pero la espada todavía está encima de su cabeza, realmente.
Simon, DOJ made mention during this hearing of this finding in 2019 that Mr. Abrego Garcia was a danger to the community. There's obviously been debate about that original finding. Can you respond first to the original finding and then the fact that DOJ brought it up here and the judge's response briefly saying, you know, that was 6 years ago and kind of poo-pooing?
Yeah, I mean, the criminal court judge in Tennessee made a finding that Mr. Abrego Garcia is not a danger to the community, is not a flight risk. He did put him on very strict conditions of release, right? You're not going to see him, you know, walking around in suburban PG counties on very strict conditions of release. And, you know, I mean, the government keeps bringing up this notion that he's some kind of MS-13, you know, leader. And it's just been how many courts that this case has now been in front of over the past year, and not one of them has found any evidence to support that. I mean, in any event, he's still under criminal indictment, right? There's a trial scheduled to begin in a month from today, right? And so his conditions are very restricted pending that trial. But, you know, the notion that he needs to be taken back into detention for the safety of the community is one that the district court judge in Tennessee has already roundly rejected.
Can you explain what your reaction would be to what was identified as the most likely basis for the government to seek detention again? It was in the weeds there, but
I mean, it's very in the weeds, but I just think the government is at this point almost sort of desperately flailing around for any statutory, you know, sort of their first statutory basis to detain him. The Judge Sinas about a week and a half ago kind of took an axe to that. So they're now flailing around trying to find a separate independent statutory basis for detention. I mean, it just goes to show, again, that they're just desperate to find any legal excuse, any legal hook to take him back into a nice detention center, you know, which is, of course, completely unnecessary given the facts of this case, given everything the government has found. Que realmente están desesperados, los abogados del gobierno están desesperados para encontrar cualquier pretexto legal para volver a detenerlo. Realmente ellos son los que hicieron que este caso fuera de tal magnitud de lo que es. Nunca fue decisión del señor Abrego García de ser un caso nacional, de importancia nacional, la Corte Suprema, todo esto. Eso siempre ha sido decisión del gobierno. Entonces, por sus propias decisiones, por sus propias acciones, se sienten de pronto con la espalda contra la pared y están en este momento desesperados de encontrar cualquier pretexto legal para volver a detenerlo.
So, in kind of a technical question, the basis that they're floating now is a pre-final order of removal, right? That they're talking about potentially detaining Garcia, and under that, would that expire automatically in 30 days once?
Yes, exactly. And 10 of those 30 days have already run or something like that, right? So really, essentially, their best argument at this point, and that's giving them a lot of credit and taking for granted a lot of things that we don't agree with, but their best argument at this point would justify them taking him back into detention for 20 days and then releasing him again, right? And so, I mean, there's...
So you have to be released automatically once those 30 days?
Well, nothing happens automatically. Like, they're not doing anything unless this court orders, but the basis for this court's release order would come right back into play on the 31st day, right? So, January 13th, they'd have no legal justification whatsoever under the sun for continuing to detain him. They couldn't even hypothetically come up. Was sort of the point that we were. Let's take one last question.
If I can, just to grossly oversimplify what the judge has said, the government has to do when they come back to court. What do they have to do to her in order to get the TRO dissolved?
The government, in order to get the TRO resolved, needs to state exactly what it is they intend to do with Mr. Abrego Garcia and what their basis or reasoning for that is. They can't keep going with this notion that, well, we might do this, we might do this, we might do this, and you should let us do it whatever we want, whenever we want. They have to actually come up with a very specific plan and then justify that plan. And that's what they've been ordered to do on Friday, is to specify exactly what they want to do and why it is they think they're allowed to do it. We'll have the opportunity to respond, and then the judge will enter her ruling sometime after the new year. All right, thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Simon. Thank you to the amazing work of the legal team. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is George Escobar. I am the incoming executive director at CASA. And I just wanted to take a brief moment, first of all, to thank everybody that's been out here on a daily basis. We have all been together here in the cold, in the summer, in the heat, in the rain, throughout this odyssey that continues to evolve. And if it hadn't been for the work of our united community that stands together in solidarity with Kilmar, we would not have the result that we had inside that courtroom today. So we want to thank everybody that's been out here. Thank all the wonderful interfaith leaders and our community at large that's been out here every day. Because let's be honest about what we're talking about. We're not talking about solely the case of the United States versus Kilmar Abrego Garcia. We're seeing the case play out here of the U.S. versus our immigrant community in general. Because exactly what Kilmar is experiencing in there is what's happening over and over and over again in so many courtrooms, in so many detention centers, in so many places across the country that don't get the attention that he has. Fortunately, we have a brave leader in Kilmar who has raised his voice, who has worked with his family, and his brave family have decided to be an example and decided to show their life, show their world, expose themselves, and risk their own safety to tell this story. So we always have to remember that. We always have to respect that. And it is our obligation as a community and to us at CASA as an organization to stand here in solidarity with them. And we commit to staying with them and fighting through this until this is resolved and until justice is resolved. Is that right?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
We're fortunate that today the judge ultimately saw the